This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Part 1. The People-Pleasing Habit. Think of a friend or acquaintance whom you'd consider to be a typical people-pleaser. This individual is probably one of the nicest people you know. He or she is always ready to lend a hand. You can count on him or her to help you whenever the need arises. This person will gladly abandon his or her personal pursuits to cater to your wants and needs. Does this person sound disturbingly familiar to you in a personal way? Do you notice aspects of it in yourself? For example, when someone requests your help, do you immediately set aside whatever you're working on and say, "Sure"? And here's the bigger issue. Do you regularly feel unhappy, stressed, and exhausted as a result of constantly putting other people's priorities ahead of your own? If so, this book is for you. Saying no to people is one of the most important skills you can develop. It frees you to pursue your own interests, both personal and professional. To that end, it'll boost your productivity, improve your relationships, and fill you with a sense of confident calm that may seem alien to you at this moment. The ability to say no is liberating, but developing the skill is often difficult. For most of us, it requires undoing years of practice to the contrary. For some of us, learning to say no counteracts a lifetime of indoctrination from our parents, teachers, bosses, coworkers, and family members. But it's worth the effort. Once you possess the ability to say no with confidence and grace, and do so with regularity, you'll notice changes in how others perceive you. They'll have more respect for you. They'll place a greater value on your time, and they'll come to see you as a leader rather than a follower. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Interested to know more? Are you ready to finally curb your inclination to please people by saying yes all the time? If so, let me describe my personal experience with being an unabashed people-pleaser. My past life as a people-pleaser. I'm a recovering people-pleaser. If you had known me in my high school and college days, you needn't have ever wanted for help. I was there for you. All you had to do was ask. I'd happily sacrifice my own pursuits to help you pursue your own. This tendency to say yes regardless of my personal circumstances was born of several factors. We'll cover them in Part 2, Reasons We Struggle to Say No. For now, it's enough to say that I was the quintessential people-pleaser, and I was miserable. Every time I said yes to someone, it felt like I was doing the right thing. I was making the other person happy. So how could such a decision be regrettable? But a little voice would always opine that saying yes to others was, in fact, saying no to myself. The time given would no longer be available to spend toward my own pursuits. The money given would no longer be available to finance my own needs and interests. And sure enough, I allowed others to use my time, money, and even my labor toward their interests, while my interests were placed on the back burner. For example, I owned a pickup truck while attending college. That made me a prime candidate for helping my friends move. As you might expect, I was regularly asked to do so. Being a die-hard people-pleaser, I was quick to say yes. But it was always in opposition to the small voice in my head berating me for putting my own interests and priorities on hold. Worse, this voice was persistent, and it slowly caused me to become resentful of myself as well as the people who routinely requested my help. It was a downward spiral. Each time I was asked to do something for someone, I said yes in spite of myself. So ingrained was the habit of catering to others. But with each acquiescence, a feeling of discontent grew inside me, setting the stage for bitterness and despair. Time and again, I sacrificed my own interests to help others, knowing that doing so was making me increasingly unhappy. I had no one to blame but myself. At some point, I decided that I had had enough. I began to reject all requests to help friends move. In fact, I turned down nearly all requests for help of any kind.